Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio. So today, I am bringing you news of a really fun deck over in Japan. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You see, Japan's national championships have just happened, and I brought you word the other day of a Rayquaza deck, which went and won the whole thing in Masters. And actually, to be honest, Rayquaza did win in all three age divisions, like I told you in that video. But today, I'm bringing you noise of a Noivern-GX deck that got second. Now, full disclosure at the beginning of this video, Japan does play a slightly different format. Japan are currently playing X and Y on in their standard format, whereas we're playing Breakthrough on and Expanded with both playing Black and White on. But a good deck in X and Y on could well end up being a good deck in one of our formats as well. And let's face it, when was the last time Noivern-GX did well? Noivern just came second at the Japanese National Championships. Now, it's been a while since Noivern was actually relevant, so I suppose we should have a quick chat about what Noivern is and what Noivern does. Noivern is a very annoying Pokemon. It's got 2 attacks. I mean, it's a dragon Pokemon, it's weak to fairy and all of that. But, you know what? Gardevoir's just not that relevant, to be perfectly honest with you at the moment. I mean, if we look at the results of Japan's national championship, Gardevoir, Hideto Sasaki, and my pronunciations, I can only apologise, went and got 17th place with Gardevoir Sylveon. I mean, that was it in essentially the top 33. It's not that relevant, ladies and gentlemen. So the weakness becomes not an issue. And then you got 2 annoying attacks. 2 energy, 50 damage. Your opponent cannot play item cards during the following turn. I mean, it's a spiritual successor to Seismitoad. 3 energy, 120. Your opponent can't play any special energy cards from their hand during their next turn. And bearing in mind at the moment, Buzzwole's really huge, uses strong energy. And Zoroark is still big in Japan because they've still got Skyfield in their standard format. That uses double colourless energy. And you have the makings, ladies and gentlemen, of a rather annoying deck indeed. And of course, this was played with Zoroark. Why was it played with Zoroark? Couple of reasons. First of all, you might as well play double colourless energy anyway. Secondly, you've got trade. Trade just helps you set up. This is a fun deck, but as we're going to talk about in a moment, it's really quite reliant on double dragon energy. And it's all built around stage 1s. Essentially, this is a deck where you just need to get going and get set up. And the way you do that is by having multiple trades per turn. And that really is it in terms of attackers. It is Gardevoir and it is Zoroark. Now, you're playing double colourless energy, so you can attack with Zoroark, but they're all the attackers you've got. Zoroark and Noivern. Now, I should remind you that you do have double dragon energy in Japan's format at the moment. 2 of any energy when attached to a dragon Pokemon means you can use Distort for 1 energy attachment. And then, of course, you've also got Sonic Volume. You will need to add another energy as well. And this deck is living life a little bit on the edge because you are only playing double colourless and double dragon energy. Were you to come across something like a Xurkitree, things would not be good. Heck, if you played against another Noivern and they played Sonic Volume and got a KO, you would not be able to win the game because you'd have no energy for the rest of the game. But that's okay. You don't need any of that energy malarkey. Noivern is something people have been trying to use for a very long time. It's just never been good. Noivern apparently is good now, and that's pretty awesome. Now, in terms of other Pokemon in this deck, a couple of Tapu Lele to search out supporter cards, and a Shaman, just because you can draw some extra cards, get going quick, draw that double colourless energy, etc. And 1 Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo is a very, very standard tech card in Japan, because like I've said, they've still got Skyfield, and Zoroark plus Skyfield is crazy good. So you pretty much got to play 1 copy of Sudowoodo, put your opponent down to 4 bench Pokemon so that you can go up against these other Zoroark decks. And in terms of energy here, it's just 4 double dragon, 3 double colourless. Now, in terms of trainer cards here, we do see a few things which are less than entirely usual. We do see a full 4 copies of Puzzle of Time here. Puzzle of Time helps you get your resources back, and this is a deck that plays, well, all special energy. And I know that special charge is a thing, but it's much better to get them to your hand. And remember that Zoroark Puzzle of Time is a beautiful combination, because if you've got one Puzzle of Time in hand, you can then use trade, discard one, etc, and hopefully get the double puzzle and recover that energy. And we see a fair bit of disruption in this particular deck. We see Team Flare Grunt to get rid of energy. We see Plumeria, which is not a card we see all that often, to get rid of energy. We see Enhanced Hammer, and we see Crushing Hammer. This is a deck that really does rely on getting rid of energy. Because again, like I said, if you're against a deck that really relies on special energy, if you can get rid of that energy, while then using Noivern's attack to stop them attaching more special energy, then that's it. They're out of the game and you win. And that's absolutely the goal here. So you've got to play a bunch of energy denial cards. We do see a counter catcher here. It's a free gusting effect if you're behind on prizes. This is a deck where you're slowing your opponent down. You don't need to win on turn 1 or 2. You need to get set up and disrupting them just in time for them to not have anything that they can do. So you may fall down a prize or 2, getting counter catcher going. Also, if you can pull something in the active and then start trainer locking them, they can't use stuff like Floatstone and you will be lovely. And we do see Silent Lab here. Silent Lab, great little stadium card, turns off abilities of basic Pokemon, which is basically Tapu Lele and Shaymin. I mean, there's others, but they are, of course, the big two. I suppose it would also turn off Rayquaza's ability. It just slows your opponent down. If you can slow your opponent down well enough with this deck, you can then lock them out of the game and win. Now, looking at the other cards here, we see a mixture of Professor Sycamore and N, because they're just really good draw cards. Sycamore's nice and aggressive, N can slow your opponent down, punish them for taking prizes in the early game, and as previously mentioned, your opponent may well end up taking prizes in the early game. We see a couple copies of Guzma, because as fun as Counter Catcher is, you can't always rely on it. You need something like that. We play a copy of Ace Roller here. You're basically attacking for 1 energy attachment with both your main attackers here. So being able to use Ace Roller, pick up a Pokemon, put them back down again, that sounds like an awful lot of fun to me. We do see a copy of Teammates here. Well, it helps you search for any 2 cards after a Pokemon was KO'd. Like I've said, you need to search out that Double Dragon energy, and you may well go down a prize or 2 early, so let's combine both of those and make Teammates a great play. Obviously, we see 4 Versus Seeker to reuse those supporter cards. It's how you can get away with playing so many one-offs. We play 3 Ultra Ball and 1 Mysterious Treasure here as our Pokemon search. Mysterious Treasure is a bit of a pain, because it doesn't actually allow you to search out Zoroark, but it will get you your Tapu Lele and it will get you your Noivern, so you're good to go. It won't get you Noibat, of course, because Noibat is only a colourless Pokemon, which is why we only actually see 1 of these. Hey ho. We see a copy of Evo Soda, which has really become a standard thing in Zoroark decks to get those evolutions out earlier, but of course it could work just as well with Noivern. And we do see a copy of Field Blower here. You're not that reliant on abilities, but you're always going to come across people with Fighting Fury Belt, or you're going to use a Counter Catcher to pull something in the active and get rid of their Floatstone so you can strand them in the active. And then we see a couple copies of Muscle Band. We don't see any Choice Band here, because Choice Band only adds damage against EXs or GXs. And this is really a deck where you want to be able to take down anything. You're not doing big one-hit KOs. You're not playing Skyfield to really take advantage of the power of Zoroark. You are trying to disrupt with Noivern. Zoroark here really is played far more as a draw engine than it is played as an attacker. You want Muscle Band here, so okay, you're only doing 50 a turn, but that 50 a turn now becomes 70 a turn, and 50 to 70 is a fairly huge difference. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the deck that came second at the Japanese National Championships. Huge shout out to the lovely David Hockman over at limitlesstcg.com/tournaments. He was a lovely man who translated all of these deck lists because he rocks. And I know Japan are playing a different format. We don't have all of these cards in our standard format. We have all of these cards and more in our expanded format. But I thought it was very relevant that such a weird, unexpected deck came second at the biggest tournament in Japan. I wanted to know about it, and I assumed you lovely ladies and gentlemen would as well. If you want to hear about more weird decks that did well in Japan, let me know. I'm sure I can make it happen. But for now, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do just that. And do check out my video game channel, Wasi Plays. I just uploaded a video about Microsoft's E3 conference. Check it out and support us. I would be absolutely delighted and grateful. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.